So fascinating. Yeah, and I think you mentioned longevity genes too, right? There are genes that are kind of marking you, if you have those genes, that you tend to live long.
Yeah. So, when we talk about longevity, right, beyond aesthetics and external things that you can use for longevity, there's an innate longevity within us that has a lot to do with the way we manage oxidants. Okay. Oxidants are like super bad for aging, right? Free radicals, reactive oxidants, they all mean the same thing. These oxidants, they initiate or they speed up the aging process by causing mitochondrial dysfunction. They contribute to wrinkles, they contribute to the graying of hair. And so, from a longevity perspective, internally, cellularly, the better you are at having or at antioxidation, the better you are at dealing with oxidants, the slower your aging process is going to be. And now, of course, if you look at what drives the antioxidation process, number one, it's the superoxide dismutase pathway, SOD2, and glutathione peroxidase. So glutathionization and the superoxide dismutase pathways, these are two extremely important antioxidation pathways. Glutathione is the most abundant antioxidant in the body. And in fact, it's the second most abundant compound in the body after water. So you can imagine how important glutathione is to the body. And so there are genes that control, almost like a command center, how fast you're able to deal with oxidation and how fast you're able to deal with dead or dying cells or cells that have gone out of whack, right? Because everyone knows, it's the one time that the cell isn't killed off while it's going crazy replicating that leads eventually to the development of tumors and cancer. And so there's a specific gene in our DNA called FOXO3. FOXO3 gene. This gene is like the command center of the anti-inflammatory process. So it's like, almost imagine like this security guard with a bunch of screens, and he's watching the whole body, and he spots like a cell going haywire, or he spots a cell that's dying, and he goes, okay, we got to go to sector 5 right now and deal with that gene or deal with that cell. So some people have a version of that gene that's like super laser fast at dealing with problems. Okay. They hired the cream of the crop security company to deal with it. Okay. That's what they got in their body. And other people, most people, the majority of people, just have your regular run-of-the-mill security guard. And so those people that have the super high version, they're rare. They're 10 to 20% of the population at most. And the unique thing is, if you were to study the blue zone regions around the world, so Okinawa in Japan, Mediterranean Greece, Nepal, areas in the Himalayas, over the age of 100, beyond their, stress less, eat certain foods, whatever it is, from a genetic perspective, many of them carry the fast or the optimal version of this FOXO3 gene. So it literally is a gene that helps contribute to your longevity. Now, I know everyone here is thinking, well, how the hell do I know if I have it, right? So the first thing is get tested. Right. But even if you don't have it, there are nutrients you can take to help speed up the expression of that gene. So even if you don't have the optimal version, you can hire or train your security guard to get better at spotting the problem. And there are things like resveratrol, extremely effective, right? Resveratrol is extremely effective in supporting expression of FOXO3 gene. It's also, if anyone here has studied the work of David Sinclair, Dr. Sinclair talks about resveratrol as kind of like his special thing. There's multiple studies that suggest that resveratrol has fantastic antioxidation properties. But beyond that, things like quercetin are extremely effective. Things like EGCG, right? Green tea extract, the EGCG, the epicogalatinate that you can get from green tea is extremely effective in antioxidation and slowing down the aging process. So, don't worry that even if you don't have the gene, you can certainly help activate the expression of that gene by introducing some of these compounds. Resveratrol is found in grapes, for example. It's found in many berries. Blueberries are extremely effective in the anti-aging process. So things like that are, people if they just turn on one or two of these hacks, they can significantly help slow down their aging process.
That's so hopeful. That,
Yeah.
that gives a lot of people hope.
Yeah.
So in your report from the lab test, the saliva test, does it give you recommendations? If you don't have the optimal form of genes, does it give you recommendations what supplements
That's
you could
exactly
take?
what we did. I mean, if you have the optimal, version of genes, kudos to you. But if you don't, we certainly highlight some of the nutrients, single ingredients, and even some combinations of nutrients that are going to be supportive, right? So supplements, our big thing with supplements is if necessary, when necessary, and given in an intelligent manner, right? So if you can target what it is you're trying to treat or achieve or improve or optimize with a specific formulation for a specific period of time, you'll see much better results than trying to take 20, 25 pills at a time every single day. Because remember that you're also putting a lot of pressure on your liver to metabolize all of those supplements, right? So we take a very intelligent approach to supplements and identify where specific formulations or ingredients can support genetic expression.